Since I'm gonna be seeing the new movie in a few days, let's talk about The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Probably don't need to say this, but spoilers ahead, so hit that like button and come back later. So this is one of my favorite fantasy movies. My favorite character in this film has to be Sam. Sam really is one of the best definitions of a best friend character. He was there from the very beginning and only stuck with Frodo from even the toughest times of their journey to go to Mordor. I mean, Sam was just basically minding his own business, and when he learns that his best friend Frodo has the fate of the world in his hands, he's like, you know what, how about we take a guy's trip? I'm gonna help you out with this. Like, you would do the same for me, bud. Like, we all need a Samwise in our lives. So in my opinion, this is gonna be one of the best movies you will ever see in your life. I actually only just recently got into these movies during the pandemic because I thought the pandemic wasn't gonna last so long, so I figured it would have been a good time to start binging the Lord of the Rings movies. And while I was wrong that the pandemic wasn't gonna last long, it is nice that I finally did give these movies a shot because yeah, these are some really great movies, and I think The Fellowship of the Ring is the second best of the trilogy. The characters in this movie are so likable, the writing is so well written, and the world, oh my gosh, the world is definitely the best part of this movie. The world in this movie is just so big with a rich history. It's kind of like the world of One Piece, where they go into more detail with each movie of this world, and with each detail you get of this world feels more real as you continue to learn about its history. I do feel like that the Lord of the Rings movies, especially Fellowship of the Ring, has an unnecessary long runtime. But I also do feel like that the unnecessary runtime for the Lord of the Rings movies does help expand the lore of this world to us a lot more. In fact, every time I do rewatch these movies, I always try to rewatch the extended editions of these movies because I just feel like if I don't watch the extended editions, I'm missing out so much of these characters in this world. I also kind of felt like that the ending to this movie kind of comes out a little bit of nowhere. I mean, in the other two movies, like Two Towers and Return of the King, you can kind of sense that you're approaching the end of the movie. But in this one, I just feel like that the ending kind of happens right out of nowhere. Like, there isn't really much build up to a final battle in this movie. Still, in my opinion, this is a really great movie, and if you want to try to get into high fantasy movies, I think this is one of the first films you should check out. And heck, if you even just want to check out the Lord of the Rings franchise, Fellowship of the Ring is definitely the one you want to start off with. I know that should go without saying, but there are actual multiple ways you can start off on watching the Lord of the Rings franchise. Like for me, I didn't watch Fellowship of the Ring first. I started off with the Hobbit trilogy, which in my opinion are also good movies. I'll get to those reviews another time though. My favorite moment of this film has to be the opening scene to this film. The opening scene to this movie is so iconic. I always rehear the dialogue to this opening scene to this movie every time I hear somebody talk about the Lord of the Rings. It does a great job on building up a bit of this world's history, but also does a good job on building up the threat to the movies and just how powerful he is. Honestly, just watching this one intro alone for this movie got me hooked on the rest of the Lord of the Rings franchise and made me want to actually continue to finish this story despite the long run times. I give this film a 9.7 out of 10, giving it an A+. Anyway, that's the review. Go down to the comments, tell me what you thought of the Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Share this video with all your friends, and click that like and follow button to keep up to date with all my latest content. See ya!